ANC Treasurer-General Paul Mashatile says the party is in the final stretch of preparations for its upcoming conference, and the party held its NEC meeting this past weekend where several reports were tabled, and the Phala Phala farm theft scandal has been one of the party's biggest headaches in recent months, and the ANC says what the president shared with it on this particular issue is confidential. Now, also the Veterans League wants Joel Netshitenzhe to become the party's next national chairperson. Let's look at this and more now with Mavuso Msimang, who's a veteran of the ANC. Bab, thank you so much for your time. Let's start with the nomination for Yagababu Joel Netshitenzhe, because this is someone that hasn't been campaigning. A number of people didn't see this one coming. Do you think for you, he's the best person to serve as chairperson?
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. We have absolute confidence in Joel Netshitenzhe, but I think it would be very interesting and good for everybody to know that the good people don't always canvass for support. We sat together, we're a very newly constituted group of veterans, and we're a task team actually that has got 9 months of existence, by which time we need to have done a lot. And we looked at the conference that's happening in December and thought through a secret ballot, we should come up with the names of people we think would be good to really get the ANC out of this difficult problem in which it was. Joel Netshitenzhe really has a marvelous track record. He's worked in policy formulation. He's a thinker in the ANC. He really has been on the NEC for a very long time. He fits the bill very well.
And let's talk about, another interesting development coming out from yourselves has been the issue of President Cyril Ramaphosa getting the nod, from the Veterans League for a second term. And I wonder, though, how did this come about? Was there a conversation even before you guys went to the secret ballot? Because I know you've been quite vocal on his handling of this particular issue.
Yes, the way it was done, we were constituted. The last Veterans League, its mandate lapsed in October because they did not hold their conferences, provincial conferences, so the mandate was lost. The Northwest Province, I must say for them, did hold a provincial meeting, and so they were not affected by this. But the task team that's been set up was assembled barely 2 weeks ago, and the organization was keen for us also to participate. The structures, the leagues of the ANC are all in limbo. Their task teams, something's gone terribly wrong. So when we got together, and I don't know, maybe 60–70% of the people who voted there, but they qualify by virtue of being over 60 years of age and having served the organization for at least 40 years. We said, listen, let's compile a list of people we think would be suitable to nominate for leadership of the ANC next month. And people then said, there was nobody who said, what do you think about Cyril? What do you think about Joel Netshitenzhe? We just said, ANC people, who do you think should be on this list of the top officials, 6 of them? And also we didn't have time, but we also wanted to nominate people for the rest of the National Executive Committee. So that he came out on top is a reflection of how the individuals who are members of the Veterans League thought of him. I don't think everybody voted for him, but he came out on top.
Should he be standing for a second term, looking at how this issue of Phala Phala continues in the public domain, and even listening to the NEC at the weekend, post the NEC meeting, they say that what he's told them remains confidential, which then begs the question, is it party first and then the state? Because the public is still waiting to know more details about this. So should he be standing with all these questions still surrounding the Phala Phala farm saga?
No, I think it's a question. It would be unfair to single them out. You've got many people who also have questionable backgrounds. And if we were to say he must not go forward, I don't know who we think among the people who want to be presidents would say, no, this one can stand. There is a problem in the organization. There are quite a number of people in the, who would like to be elected president who really should not be because of ethical issues and so on. So should he go forward, I as Mavuso Msimang might have some views. The veterans who came together looking at the totality of the situation, who is contesting, what's happening, the nature, I think there are technicalities around whether he's been charged or not. I really wouldn't want to waste too much time as to whether he's not been charged. I think there are certain things that the first citizen of the country should handle in a particular way. But the consensus, the majority of the people who voted thought he should. I don't think he's any less qualified than others to stand for these things.
And, looking at some of the challenges that, you say that are not only facing him, but various members of the political party, is this the right kind of ANC to be going towards its conference in December, given the state at which it finds itself now?
Yes, they should go to conference, absolutely. And is it the best people that are contesting? I don't know. Many people think differently. And they would use certain criteria for thinking that some of the people want to be in the NEC and senior position really should not be doing that, not now. But, there it is, though, and the delegates, which are the branches of the ANC, have the opportunity to decide in December whether they choose any of these people or not, or you would think that given what we have, what the people should do, and this is a message that we would like to convey to the people with the power to vote, that listen, don't be influenced by slates. Look at the people there and decide who you think would be good for the ANC and good for South Africa. So that really is the issue. We're starting very late to address the people, but it's really never too late to try to do the right thing. Absolutely.
Do you think they'll listen, though? Because you think about the issue of slate politics, and I think back to some of the rules that have been set out by the Electoral Committee. And this is another issue that they've cautioned the delegates on, which is the issue of slate politics. It's something that we've seen over the years, and it continues to happen. Would the delegates listen to this? And how destructive has slate politics been for the ANC?
Slates have been absolutely destructive, and the current slates actually were not even formed. The people hijacked the responsibility of the branches, which of course has a bearing on the state of the branches themselves. I mean, you had provincial people coming together and deciding that these are the slates the province so and so would like to see go forward. That's not the way it should be done. But they exist now. Will the delegates to conference think about these things? We are appealing to everybody in the interest of South Africa, in the interest of ANC. We're saying, guys, you have the power to vote good people into leadership. How well we succeed is going to be dependent. It's a function of the efforts that we will make. We aren't discriminating against any particular individual, but when we describe who ought not to be running, people will make up their mind and then hopefully vote for those people, vote for any others. They believe good members of the ANC in good standing. But it really is important. We're not going to, having accepted the challenge of inclusion in the national task team to veterans of the Veterans League, we really have an obligation to try very hard to get people to recognize that we're in such a mess as a country because of poor ethics, poor morality, corruption, name it. They should not elect anybody who is associated with corruption.
All right, let's see then if those calls are heeded, and hopefully we speak again in future. Thank you so much, Mavuso, for your time. Do appreciate it. That's Mavuso Msimang, a veteran of the ANC.